podcast back at it for you.
What's poppin', son?
On another video. I think TikTok's gonna be my new thing. I don't really like TikTok, and I don't want China to be following me on TikTok.
Yeah.
But they got a lot of videos that I feel like we should talk about.
Yeah.
They got a lot of content.
Yeah.
Right. Might be some bullshit, but there's a lot of content. I know they got a lot of naked people on there too, but
still,
I'm not gonna look at those.
Yeah. We ain't trying to look at those people.
Yeah.
We're trying to look at.
But the videos, I'm gonna This is a video.
Everybody, by the way, everybody in TikTok thinks they're qualified. They're qualified.
Yeah, it's crazy.
For fucking.
This is the whole world.
They're psychologists. They're therapists.
It's the world. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's real crazy. People listen to people sometimes too. Don't listen to me, please.
Yeah.
Don't hear me talking and be like, I'm gonna listen to what Moses said. Take what I said, look at it, be like, all right, well that kind of makes sense. It could make sense. It might not make sense. And then go look at somebody else's video and be like, well, and then put it to your life and be like, well, maybe it does, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
It's molding.
Don't taking and.
What happens is this is starting to mold and shape because what do people do? People these days they're like, we finally done taking care of the kid. The kid's in bed. And then they've all swiped through their phone. TikTok, swipe. So, end of the day, their brain is being molded by this fucking TikTok shit. And that's what happens because they hear one of these things and then their brain switches to this thing. And then after they hear the next thing, they hear the next thing.
TikTok and I would say, Instagram, the quick social media ones are just usually clips. I'm more of YouTube, watching a conversation between people. Even if it's a clip of that conversation, but it's at least a 10-minute clip of them talking, or somebody saying something, and it's a little more information than just a clip. And then I'm like this is a clip the lady clips from somebody else, and she's gonna talk about it.
As for the video, it makes it easier for us to stop it and talk.
And we're gonna get into it.
Generation of kids just turn their back on their parents. I
had to stitch that creator's video because I can't find the original. It is Sunday self-care. I'm obviously doing a little mask on my pimple here. I'm doing my nails. I got the time, so let's get into it. Basically, if you don't know what that lady's talking about,
I'm so grateful that she has the time to do this because
there's so much time on her hands.
I know there's so much to do in the world right now. Ukraine's
I wonder why she has so much time.
She has so much time.
Yeah. By the way, she has a mask on.
Is weird, and she's on TV out amongst people.
She looks about in her 20s.
Looking crazy. Yeah. It's like women wearing bonnets outside, which I don't approve of. My wife wouldn't approve of. So the first one was an older lady. She's just puzzled, I don't know what's wrong with these kids these days. And then this is a younger lady.
First of all,
I'm doing a face mask, so I had to do it right now while I'm doing my face mask. I couldn't wait till the face mask was done and do it.
I'm pretty sure that's something makeup she's pushing, but whatever.
Yeah.
Saying, I don't understand how kids these days are so entitled and can cut off contact from their parents, and that she would never treat her parents that way. Now, I'm currently in the middle of a very difficult and complicated situation with my family. If you saw my Christmas video, you know what I'm talking about. I feel like I can speak on this topic from experience. And honestly, much of what I'm about.
See, now I want to see her Christmas video.
Yeah, we gotta check that out.
Because I don't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, her family's talking.
But obviously, she either videoed it or she videoed her talking about it afterwards.
Doesn't matter. Everybody's family's complicated.
Which I get, but everybody's family's complicated. and to talk about it on a social media just seems a little absurd, but
whatever.
Let's let it roll.
That's the world these days.
Say is a little harsh, so if you're upset about that, you can go ahead and cry about it later because I really don't care. I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but there is almost an epidemic of millennial and Gen Z children having complicated relationships with their parents.
We're millennial, Gen Z's
what's millennial?
The new ones. Millennial women at
millennial was 2000?
Before 2000.
90 to 2000?
Yeah.
Gen Z is 2000 to something, and then there's another one, right? Another gen?
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, so these are right now, these are 30, 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right? Not 20, not the kids.
She looks 20 to me.
She does look good. I don't know that I'm confused. All right, we'll figure that out.
It's a common theme that's going on right now. I'm not a parent, and I honestly don't know if I ever intend to become one, but the biggest issue that I'm noticing with these parent-child relationships that we're seeing on TikTok, similar to the one that this woman is referencing, is that a lot of these parents, particularly boomers, feel like their children owe them something. And they feel like because they raised them and put food on the table, put a roof over their heads, clothed them, bought them toys as a child, they feel like their children owe them something later on in adult life. And before I even continue this, let me say I am not at all talking about those spoiled ass little bratty ass kids who, when they get cut off at 25, they throw a fit with mommy and daddy. I'm not talking about those kids. Obviously they exist. But when you decide to become a parent, and this is also why I have reservations of becoming a parent myself someday, when you become a parent, you need to understand that your child doesn't owe you shit later on in life. You made the choice to bring them into this world. Unconsensual.
So, you know what I mean? Like, what she said so far, I'm not totally like disagreeing. But I will say this: the reason why she don't want to become a parent is because she's way too selfish to become a parent. 100%. She already knows that for herself, which I'm fine with that. She knows that, and she doesn't want.
At least she's self-aware enough.
I get that part. Also, you know, I don't know if you. Again, this is what we talk about in every video. When we start to label and generalize everything into one thing, like these, like she said, these millennials. Or these boomers, the boomer parents, they think their kids owe them something. I know a lot of boomer parents, and their kids don't owe them shit, but their kids do respond to them because they took care of them, right? It's just like a thing. Like, my mom took care of me, right? I don't owe her shit. She never asked me for anything, but I still take care of her, right? Because that's just society, like, that's what you do, right? You just kind of do it. Like, I tell my son all the time, he doesn't have to come back and take care of me. Go in or start your family. It's like the lion, right? The lion comes, they kick the male out, the male starts his own pride. Right. And I'm cool with that, right? He doesn't have to come back for me. Me and my wife are together to do that. So I don't know where she's getting that from. I guess from just one video. But I don't think you know, and if it is somebody asking for something, I think it's kind of almost like heartless that your parents did raise you. You didn't die.
You're making this video because you were born, by the way.
Yeah.
You made the choice to
like somebody
give you a life.
That's had to make you. And then take care of you from a baby. And if you've never taken care of a baby to like a 5-year-old, right? Then you have no idea what that is, right?
There's a whole experience of life you don't know about.
Sacrifice that is to do that. And there's some deadbeat parents, some people that never done any
They're
of it.
not good parents. Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm talking about the ones, we're just going to keep it in the middle, the ones that take care of their kids, that
try
do
to
that.
provide a life for the baby, for the child.
I don't think they really, I don't think any parent, to be honest with you, I just can't think of any parent being like, when you get older, you need to take care of me. Or like, don't do, like you would want some type of help. It is your blood. Like, I tell my son all the time, he's the only person that is part of my DNA. That's my blood.
Over everybody else.
So I want him
in the
to
world.
understand that in himself. Like, there's nobody else in the world. He has my DNA.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if he sees his dad like dying on the side, like I don't know if he wants to say take care, but I'm pretty sure that'd be in his heart. He would be like, you know, let me help my dad out.
But I do agree with the fact, because I'm going through a situation also. You should look at my Christmas videos. So, but
I've never seen that either.
Where they're down and out on just their luck, and they made bad decisions. There's no retirement. They have no nothing, right? So they're planning, scheming to eventually get us to share our money with them, us to share our place with them, us to share which we do that anyway, right? Because we care about our parents, we want to be there for them. But when it comes to we don't owe you anything kind of situation, it's hard to agree completely on that, because I care about my family. Regardless of what they put me through, what they still put me through, they're still my parents, and I love them, and I want to be there for them. I want to do what I can.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who thinks like that.
Yeah, let's play.
They did not have the choice to come here. And so for you to throw these things in their face later on, right, which a lot of parents do.
See?
I raised you. I put a roof over your head. I put food on the table. I sacrificed so much for you. You are the parent who made the decision to bring another human into this world. And providing for and protecting a child is exactly what you do as a parent. Those are not things that your child needs to repay you for later on in life. You may have done the absolute best to your ability to parent and raise your child, but that also doesn't mean that you haven't contributed to their trauma. And a lot of parents just refuse to recognize and acknowledge this fact that you could have been a great parent and still possibly hurt and damage your child in some way. Because it's not that we expect our parents to be unrealistically perfect. It's because a lot of you don't know how to take accountability for the ways in which you may have hurt us, and you feel like we owe you something later on. And I am well aware that being a parent can sometimes be a hard and thankless job. But it is a job that you signed up for willingly.
And why does this generation of kids...
So what do you think about that?
Like I said, I don't really disagree with her on a lot of what she's saying. Yeah. Like, I get her where she's coming from when she's talking like that, but I just think you're being a little like one-sided. Like, and then you're generalizing everybody, like, for sure, parents or this and that.
Yeah.
Like there is some parents like that, but again, this is also a choice that is made and not made a lot of times to take care of the kids, right? They could have aborted you, and then you wouldn't have this TikTok video to talk about, which, we could go down that route.
They could have made you. They could have put you up for adoption.
Could have put you on adoption. You went somewhere else and been through some other struggles, or they could have. The dad could have left. The mom could have left you at the house. There's a lot of choices that could be made. They're not supposed to.
This is not going towards the lady. We don't know her situation.
No, I'm saying, but this is not like, and she probably has a good relationship. The thing is with most of these people that talk
they have
like
a good
this,
relationship with them.
they live a great life, and they've been living a great life. Like the reason why she probably lives where she is, and this is just me speculating.
According to the family,
she's probably has a great life. Because I hear this, the only people I hear complain about, like I grew up in the hood. Like the hood doesn't complain about their parents. There's no drama about. I mean, there's no like drama or like trauma, right? No black person in the hood, Spanish, is talking about, oh, my parents created trauma in my life. Like, they just don't go down there. Maybe they should talk about it, and they don't.
Therapy and then
maybe they need to go to therapy and they'll figure it out, but they don't talk about it. I've never heard these conversations come up. So when I hear them, it sounds kind of like, I don't know, weird to me, for me personally. Because I think about all the stuff too. Like, my dad wasn't around. My mom was, pretty much single mom. And there's stuff that, to this day, that I recover from and learn from. But they were doing the best they could. Like, my dad was doing the best he could. My mom was doing the best she could at what she knew and doing what she needed to do. And it is what it is. How it turned out, there's a point where I would make my own decisions and go down the bad path and all this, right? And it is what it is after that. Like, the same thing I have with my son. There's a point where he's going to have to make decisions. Hopefully I instilled him with enough knowledge and enough wisdom, enough, thinking, critical thinking, to be able to make a good decision for himself and go down the right path. Yeah. And I'm not going to beat myself up if he doesn't make the right decision. No. Because at the end of the day, I can only do so much.
You can only control so much. Also.
And that's at the end of the day. And hopefully I didn't put him through any trauma. But most of the time, people are just trying to figure this shit out. Like raising kids. Like, I remember when we were first we were reading Dr. Spock and all these, books. And then they were talking about, one we talk about all the time is like, stop hitting. Right? Like, stop popping, pop them on the butt, on the hand or whatever. Stop doing that and stuff. So it was all stuff we were learning at the time, because some people said yes, some people said no. Then you looked at some people who were raised like that and they were fine, and then some people that would complain about it to this day. So, I think it's a tricky thing. I think you should still be grateful. I think you sound a little ungrateful when you say like, I don't owe you anything, because you kind of do. Like, I tell my mom all the time, like, I owe her my life. Like, I'm not going to be here if it wasn't for you. Like, I would have, I could have been aborted, or I could have just been left on the side of the road type of thing.
Yeah.
And parenting through life is not just, when a baby comes. It's like my mom was with me, going to the doctors at 12, breaking my arm, breaking my chin, right? Breaking my foot bone, right? Like, going to my football games. Like, my mom was with me my whole life for 18 years, pretty much, doing everything with me. So when you say you don't owe her, that time that she gave up, she can't get back. Yeah. And the choice that she made, of course she did. She made that choice. But also, that's commitment for 18 years. Like, that's still a big choice. That's not even like a small choice that you make to bring a child into the world. Yeah. Right? It's a big choice. It's you committing time. Right. So for me to say, like, I don't owe her anything would be kind of, I tell her, she never asked me, but I would say I owe her my life. She created me. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Without that, you don't have Coco, you don't have...
Yeah, it's like, there's nowhere to start from with
Here's
the
what
conversation.
Here's what I was thinking. This is what I'm thinking. There's good points to it, but there's also something she's missing. So, like, I grew up in a crazy household. There's so much trauma, right? And once I recognized it took me a long time to even understand what trauma even was, right? I didn't even know some of the things that I do are due to trauma, right? And it sucks. Like, my parents could have done a phenomenal job, and I still would have somewhat of trauma, is what the therapist or whatever, what they say, or psychologists say. But they didn't. They did the best they could, right, with what they knew, and then they raised me from that, right? And the trauma, in my opinion, has made me better, because I learned how to cope with the trauma. Pain is temporary, right? So that bullshit is temporary, and it did give me an opportunity to look inside myself and say, and take responsibility and accountability for the things that I need to do, and not allow that trauma to define me, right? That's how I could tell she's young, because she didn't figure that part out yet. But the other thing is too, is instead of always being defensive, no matter what the situation is, even if they're trying to come after you for your money, they're trying to come after you for your lifestyle, you become successful, they want something from you. I don't think it's more about owing. I think it's just the only thing you owe them is a thank you. Why is it so many people love to sit back and blame and blame and blame? You can blame all you want. And it's okay. You have the right to say it, especially if the parents don't admit it. A lot of my family members, they don't admit half the shit that they did. And if they don't admit it, they don't even remember, because it was a fucking blip in time, and for me, it means everything. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like, thank you, Mom. That's what a video should be like. It shouldn't always be based off the negative, right? It should be off gratefulness and appreciation for the fact that these people took time out of their lives to bust their fucking ass anyway, sacrifice all that time for you. Now that we're parents, we understand that, because I'm sacrificing all the things that me and my wife could be. It's a possibility that we could fall out after this, because we still have to deal with each other after the kid moves out, right? But at the end of the day, I have to thank my family for giving me the opportunity to even be alive.
To do that.
Yeah, I get an opportunity to do my thing.
My son's not gonna owe me anything, but
he's
got to be grateful, for the parents that he was born into and the people that take care of him. Like, you got to still be thankful and grateful. I think that's what we're missing in society, anyways.
Yeah,
I mean, younger kids are not grateful. They're not thankful. They're not even thankful for the country they were born in.
It's not that
right. They could have been born anywhere in the earth.
Some people are oblivious to gratefulness, and some people are oblivious to the trauma part too, right? I mean, you have to discover the trauma part, and also becoming a parent too showed me that. Yeah. You have to experience the trauma part and discover it and be self-aware of it and fix it. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to fix that. And then on top of it, you have to be able to find a way to be grateful for the things that you have and the parents that you have. Some people don't have parents.
I think another thing is, it's like that saying. I love this saying.
My parents didn't have parents.
Hard times create strong men. Strong men create easy times or weak times. No, strong men create weak men. Mm-hmm. Weak men create hard times. Right? It's the same. And that's just what it is. Like, we at a place in society, especially in America for sure, like, where, the strong men, like we said, you go back to the 50s when the guy was living through world wars, getting drafted. And now we at a point where we don't even worry about that type of stuff going on. It's talked about, but it's like not really happening. Getting drafted, going to war, having to fight other people, kill them. Mm-hmm. And now we at a point where life is it's easy.
Much easier.
It's a lot easier than it was, and the things that are coming out of it is going to be weak men.
Yeah. And
it's going to be weak people. Period. That are gonna. They have everything. You have everything at your fingertips. You don't have to really do anything. So you got to find something. And as humans, we got to find something that's complainable. We got to complain about. We got to find something like.
But they don't find enough to be grateful for.
That's the problem.
They don't find enough to be hopeful for.
Yeah.
They don't look at the things and saying, "Holy crap! Like, I'm so lucky to be in the position I'm in. Or I'm so lucky to have parents. I'm so lucky to have. I'm so lucky to be alive." They don't feel lucky at all. They just feel like, in some instances, they feel like they're owed something.
Yeah.
Right? Like in her, even in that video, no offense against her, because she's bringing up good points, but it seems as though you're like, I'm good, bro. I don't need y'all no more. Instead of saying like, I got you.
Like, end of the day, bro. Like, it's what I tell my son too. Your friends and all that is cool. Like, you my blood. At the end of the day, through thick or thin, like, your parents are going to be with you. They should be. And I'm not saying it's everybody. I'm saying, but your blood is kind of hard to. And I'm not saying blood is always right. I'm saying at the end of the day, we share that bond that nobody else shares.
It's DNA.
And it's like, your friends, whatever their alternative motive, whatever it is, I think of it the way that your dad thinks of it is, you my blood, like, you my DNA, right? You my passing on of my DNA. I got to make sure that happens. Like, I made you. Like, it's like, so I'm gonna be here for all of that. I want to be. So it's like
highs and lows, struggles.
Yeah, it's like I don't think you don't need to go anywhere. And when you try to disown your family, like, I've seen people, that had relationship problems and this and that. And what do they go back to? They go back to their family. Because there's nobody else gonna be waiting for you. You have a dispute with your best friend, your girlfriend at the time, who are you going to go to?
I was going to bring that up. Check
You're
this out.
Go to your family.
Sometimes you could be in the middle of a conflict, right? Especially with family, but we could bring up friends too. But you're in the middle of a conflict. Sometimes it's good to back out of that conflict and realize what you're doing to the conflict. If you're the one infusing the poison into the conflict, if you're the one infusing the war more than the other side, instead, it's a good to go, hey, listen, I apologize for all the stuff we talked about. It's got crazy right there. If we could start fresh right here and move forward from here and just build a relationship. Sometimes both sides are so ignorant because they're related. By the way, because they're related, they're both going to be similar half the time. And they're both going to be hard-headed enough not to make the thing work. The problem is I think about something all the time is on one of my parents' deathbed, is the time they're going to apologize. It's the time we're going to finally be like, man, just forget about all that stuff. Now
and they might not.
And now we care. And then they might never do that. You might be waiting your whole life for that.
But you can't wait for that.
No, bro.
You need to figure out so that you can move on and be better. And that's the whole point about growing up and maturing.
Some families are really bad. Some families
you got to get past it. Either you accept what happened or you don't accept it.
You move on.
Right? You kind of like, my dad wasn't there. Should I just pout about it and tell everybody about it and hopefully everybody cries for me and pouts for me and, feel sad for me? Or should I just move on and figure out, like, okay, I see what that did to my family, my upbringing. Let me not do that to my son.
It's being aware.
Let me not do that to my son. Let me make sure I do this. Oh, my blah, 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 blah. You got to do that. That's the whole point of, like, that's why we always say we preach in every video, think for yourself.
Yeah,
think for yourself. Look into stuff, man. Don't just take people where, like, a lot of people that probably, I go to the comments, I'm pretty sure, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And they all got similar situations where, they're fighting your family and all that shit. But at the end of the day, man, you got to be
you got one life.
Honest, grateful, and understand that, you know what I mean? Family is important, right? It's one of the most important things, I think, right after God. And you need to keep that in mind.
Humans make mistakes.
A lot of people that I see that stray away from their family don't really do well. Yeah. Like, they don't do well in life, and that's just being honest.
Yeah. Because how easy it is for them to drop.
I hear people like, I want to move, just to get away from my family. Okay.
If your family's not important, then who is important?
Who else are you going to rely on?
Yeah, who's important?
And if you got a family, the whole family is unreliable. And then some people,
I've seen it.
They got some people that the whole family, but then they got cousins.
Worst families ever.
They got uncles. They got aunts that they can rely on. They got a bunch of people. If your family is just not your mom and dad, they can go outside and they got people that would do things for them and all sorts of things, right? Yeah. Or you got people that you grew up with that was part of the family but ain't family.
Mm-hmm. Hey, mom and dad.
But you got to go to somebody.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for I'm alive.
Yeah, thanks.
R.I.P.
Even if some of the bad things or that trauma that we're talking about, it made me who I am now.
That's it.
Right? So at the end of the day,
you can't get to this point without
it is.
Everything happening. You can't get on TikTok without all that happening. Yeah. I don't know what she does on TikTok.
Yeah, we're just saying.
You're not even there. So
be grateful.
I just think be grateful, be thankful. Right. Where you are now, you can change where you're going anytime you want to. And you don't have to worry about your past. Your past is your past.
You owe you, but you also do at least owe them a thank you.
Yeah, don't have any regrets. Just keep moving forward. You dig?